Welcome to our reflection for the 25th of October. My name is Val, and I welcome all our friends at Forfar Eastern Old Church and our friends in Hungary and Switzerland. Last Sunday, Barbara Ann talked to us about justice, and this got me thinking about justice and humanity in times of war, as we can't all help worrying about the conflicts in Ukraine, Israel and Palestine. Blockade is common in war. Aid with much needed food, medicine and water has finally been allowed into Gaza, and Israel is aware that Hamas terrorists can confiscate these shipments. It all contravenes international law, not allowing humanitarian efforts. And this dates back to the time of Henri Dunant. He was a businessman from Geneva in Switzerland, and in 1859 he travelled to North Italy to negotiate with Emperor Napoleon III of France a land deal in Algeria. But at that time, Napoleon was directing the French armies, along with the Italians, to drive the Austrians out of Italy. Napoleon's headquarters were near the town of Solferino, and there Dunant witnessed one of the bloodiest battles of the 19th century. More than 200,000 soldiers fought there, 6,000 died, and over 20,000 wounded and 5,000 captured. When the towns and villages were filled with casualties and the army medical services proved inadequate, Dunant mobilized the local population and set up primitive infirmaries. Dunant thought highly of the French and the Austrian soldiers' courage and humanity. He described the Croatians as savages and barbarians. Inspired by his understanding of humanity, Dunant had a moral sense of the importance of human life. His sincere concern for the lives of these soldiers meant he overcame his prejudices and helped the barbarians as well. On returning home, Dunant wrote a book, A Memory of Solferino. In it, he proposed that all nations should set up organizations in peacetime to help sick and wounded victims of war, regardless of their nationality. Dunant's book was sent to European leaders, and he travelled all over Europe to obtain promises. 39 delegates attended a conference organised by Dunant and the Geneva Society for Public Welfare. He asked governments to decide on a common distinctive sign, and consequently the International Red Cross movement and recognised rules were developed, which now make up the Geneva Conventions. Its first and greatest principle is humanity. Humanitarian aid should be delivered without taking sides. But when we're confronted with heinous crimes, can humanitarians remain neutral? Can we argue that keeping silent, despite knowing about Germany's mass murder of Jews, made it possible to assist prisoners of war by sending them Red Cross parcels, food and medicine, inspect camp conditions, trace missing soldiers, transmit messages between prisoners and their families, and monitor compliance with the Geneva Conventions? the International Committee of the Red Cross chose to uphold its neutrality to retain that access. But after World War II, the Red Cross was severely criticised for this moral stance. I can remember my father telling me about his 4 years in World War II prison camps and the significance of the Red Cross parcels arriving. A bar of soap was worth its weight in gold. OXO cubes saved the lives of those too weak to eat solid food. The knitted socks. They kept up the soldiers' morale, knowing the folks back home were thinking about them. During the Biafran War, the Nigerian military set up a food blockade too. A volunteer doctor, Bernard Kushner, was frustrated by the delay in allowing to assist the starving Biafrans and the Red Cross ban on speaking out. Having lost family members during the Nazi regime, Kushner was not prepared to condone a second complicity in silence. He established Médecins Sans Frontières with a more politically activist humanitarianism when crimes were obviously committed to destroy a national or religious group. And in the aftermath of the 1990s Rwandan genocide, it became clear that good intentions and charity, or agape, are not enough. True humanity, like forgiveness, requires respect for both sides. There is a paradox at play here. The unconditional values of humanity as charity, and at the same time, the pragmatic imperative that demands we take sides. Let's hope that humanity and peace prevail soon.